Legend of Keepers is Goblinz Studios' newest entry on the Nintendo Switch, and a game that's been on early access for a minute and is finally making its way to the hybrid system. Right away I knew I would like this game, but I didn't necessarily know just how much, and it turns out so much so that after I was given a Switch review code, I went ahead and purchased the PC version and spent most of my time playing it on there. So while performance on Switch is good, my main reason for switching over to PC was to use mouse controls, which felt smoother and more natural. So what is Legend of Keepers, you might ask? It's a roguelike dungeon management game where you work for the aptly named Dungeon Company, and it's your task to hire hitmen to protect the dungeons from the heroes that will essentially try to rob them blind and take all of the loot for themselves. Recruit monsters, set up traps, plan out your defenses, and inevitably face off against the would-be heroes. So unlike most games of this type, you're actually on the other side of the equation, doing the defending instead of the looting. Because of its roguelike nature, right away you should probably know that you're not going to win often at the start of the game, and there's plenty of growing pains, unless you make specific use of the parameter modifiers that the game offers, and I would highly encourage you to tinker with those as you get used to more runs. The main gameplay loop revolves around a group of heroes showing up every few weeks to raid your dungeon, and it's your job to basically either take them out by dropping their HP to 0, or destroying their morale and send them running scared. Either one works. Rooms always follow the same pattern early on, so it's easy to remember. 2 monster rooms, a trap room, and a boss room. They're seated randomly, and the further you progress, the more types that get added in. Actual combat is divided in 2 separate stages. The preparation phase, where you can check the heroes and know what to prepare against. This is an important moment since you check out their basic stats like strength, health, morale, weaknesses, rolls, and more importantly, how the monsters you decided to recruit stack up against them. So scope them out and decide how to lay down your defenses and proceed to place them down, as well as any traps you need to prepare for. The key here is figuring out not just what heroes can be weak against, but also how to break down their defenses based on what your team can actually come up with. This is where synergies come in. Can your ragtag group of monsters stack up enough debuffs to do one massive attack? Or perhaps hide behind the tank and deal massive damage to their backline? Or perhaps poison is the way to go? All of these strategies come into play as you figure out how to quickly dispatch of these heroes, which are no pushovers. Another consideration on top of the monster levels are artifacts that you collect. These stack debuffs and buffs to carry out the entire dungeon, and it's another form of synergy. After all of this said and done, and you properly consider all of your options, it's ready to start phase 2, the attack action phase. This basically plays out like a let's see if this plan works type of deal. While you'll still get to choose the monster's attacks, there's no more tweaking involved. Your placement is set and your strategy is already set in motion. Once combat starts, it's just traditional turn-based RPG until a winner is decided. If you win or lose, it's entirely up to your planning phase 90% of the time. Once a run actually ends in victory or defeat, you're thrown back into the phase period where time passes as your monsters regain health, morale, and the ones who were killed are completely revived and brought back, and events will begin to trigger. Traders will visit to sell you more recruitable monsters, the option to send monsters to train to get stronger could also appear, or do you actually want to brew a specific potion to see what happens? There's a bevy of things that can happen in this period as you wait for the inevitable set of would-be heroes to raid your dungeon once again. You do have currencies that are constantly being amassed, like gold, blood, and even hero tiers, that all serve a specific purpose. Another good thing is that you're constantly getting better since your boss is gaining XP continually in each one of the runs. So they will get stronger, and even the option to unlock different bosses will become available that will help you come up with different synergies to test out. While replayability is high, this also means that you'll be seeing a lot of the same enemies, the same events, and the same sequences in a slightly different fashion. That's just kind of the part of nature of these type of genres, and it's worth considering. Several difficulties also do help keep the monotony away, so if you want to try out a really tough run or just to breeze through one, the options are there. Visually, the PC version has a bit more effects and pixel art looks sharper than on the Switch, but the game looks excellent and performance is fine overall. There's definitely no problems on the Nintendo Switch Lite, which is where I played it most of my time. Legend of Keepers is an addictive game with the caveat that once you see a lot of what it has to offer, it's up to you if you want to see more of the same. But with such an addictive gameplay loop and interesting premise, I saw myself playing it more than I should definitely have. Nintendo Sphere gives Legend of Keepers on Switch and on PC an 8.5 out of 10. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya!